Can I please have a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for our servicemen and women. Will the district clerk please call the roll?
Jackie DiLorenzo, President.
Present.
Edward Barry, Vice President.
Present.
Marisol Mallon, Trustee.
Present.
Sarah Parisi, Trustee.
Here.
Melissa Torregrossa, Trustee.
Present.
Dr. Joseph Senmore, Superintendent.
Present.
Reza Kolahifa, Assistant Superintendent for Admin and Personnel.
I am here.
Christina Poppy, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
Present.
Lori O'Hara, Executive Director of Professional Development, Compliance Services, and Special Ed.
Present.
Anthony Fasano, District Attorney.
Present.
Thank you.
I'd like to call up Mr. Anthony Fasano, District Attorney, to administer the oath of office to the Superintendent of Schools and District Clerk. Is that, wait, yeah, yes, that's correct. Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm? That I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of state position to the best of my ability.
We're now on School Board Member Ethics, Policy 2160. The Board of Education members will review the policies enumerated below and complete inside said policies and return as necessary to the district clerk no later than August 26th. They are Policy 2160, School District Officer and Employee Code of Ethics, 2160-E1, School Board Member Ethics Credo, 2160-E2, School Board Member Ethics Exhibit, if applicable, 2160-R, School Board Member Ethics Regulation. Okay. All right, we will now appoint committee members. Do I call the committee, or do you? Okay. All right, so our committees that we have our audit committee, which is the entire board. And then I guess, I don't know what we normally do. We call the committee and then we say if we're interested in it. Okay, so first one we have health and safety. Does anybody want to take on health and safety? We need two board members and an alternate.
Okay, I'll do it. And I'll be the alternate for that one.
Okay, so we have Sarah Parisi and Ed Barry for health and safety and Melissa Torregrossa for alternate. Okay. All right, our next one up is policy committee.
I'd like to do policy.
I would as well.
I'll be the alternate for, that's what I have, alternate for policy. So we have Marisol, Mellon for policy, Melissa for policy, and I'll be the alternate. Next is emergency management.
I would like to be on that one.
What is that exactly?
The emergency, I actually haven't been on that one. I'd like to be on it.
That's our safety security review, the emergency plans, get updates when the principals and the departments.
I'd like to be on that one. I don't know if anybody else.
I'll be the alternate for that one. If I think it's you and Marisol then, and I.
Okay, so Marisol and myself.
sit in on it?
I think you can sit.
Not emergency management, it's
No,
actually
not
closed.
emergency management. Is that right? It's only the two? That can be there, but the other committees, I think you could sit on it, but you're not supposed to talk. Because then it could be a quorum, I think.
Well, wait a minute.
With
No,
three
emergency
members.
management is actually a closed,
But that one is closed?
yes.
It's like the only.
It's the only one, correct.
Because confidential things relating to the district safety and security
Wait,
can
so a
come up.
board member?
No, 2 board members are on it. So if the third, like, there's an alternate, so if 2 can't make it,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, for that one, we have Marisol, myself, and Melissa as the alternate. Next one we have is technology.
I'd like to be on technology.
Okay, we have Ed for technology.
I'll do technology again.
Technology again.
It's
All right.
become my home.
Anybody want to be the
I'll
alternate?
do the alternate.
You'll be the alternate. Okay. Mental health, I mean, I would love to be on the mental health again. We've done that. That's okay. I'll do mental health. Anybody else for mental health? Or- Right, so I guess it's,
Well, I mean, I would be an alternate, it's just that mental health meets at like, for 2 hours in the middle of the day, and I just can't, I can't swing it.
all right, so we'll just put me. Okay, so just one person for now? Fine, like we did last year?
So
Okay.
I can probably, but I'd have to readjust.
I can probably do it, but I have to readjust my schedule, so I can't actually, I didn't realize it met in the middle of the day, but I'll try. Okay.
Okay, all right, so me and Sarah, and then, did one of you want to be the alternate?
I said I would,
You
yeah.
said you'd be the alternate, okay. All right, curriculum committee?
I would
Eight.
like
I'd like to.
Yes.
thank you for the curriculum
I
committee,
told it-
Definitely,
Yeah,
for
I-
curriculum.
because I know I
Me
can also.
too, but I guess we could figure out at the end who's doing.
Curriculum?
Yeah.
So we have 3 people interested in curriculum. Does somebody want to be the alternate? Curriculum is one where I believe you can sit in on, is that correct, Ms. Poppy? 'Cause
Yes,
public
it's a public meeting.
So you can't necessarily, all 3 of you talk, you can, what's that?
It's a public meeting.
They would have been considered on the committee, right.
Okay.
So you can
I could be an
attend or-
alternate then.
So do you want to be an
So the
alternate?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll put. All right, we have disabilities awareness. I like that committee too.
I would love to be on it, but it also meets during the day, is that, right?
What is going to be my question, whoever,
That's the one that Mrs. O'Hara.
I know, and it's like
Disabilities
an awesome
awareness.
committee, just,
my
it's so
question
hard for me to
gonna be
leave
when it
work so many
meets.
times.
Can someone explain what it is? Because I have no idea.
So it's a committee that we have that we recognize students with people with disability during the month of March. March is Disabilities Awareness Month that you recognize that. So we do different activities throughout the school district, and we culminate with a disabilities fair at the end of it that coincides with the unified basketball game.
Nice. Okay.
when, do you know when that one typically meets? It's during the day?
I mean, that I can decide whenever we want to do it. You know, I don't know how much participation we'll get from staff, but we can do it at, you know, I could do it for 3, 4 o'clock if we want to try that.
If it's that, then yes, I would love to do it.
Okay.
Okay, I
still
mean,
can't
I would
at
do it
like
too.
3.
Does anybody else want to do
I'll
it?
do the alternate if you want to do it, because I,
Sure, okay, all right. Okay, drug and alcohol task force?
me, please.
Me too.
My favorite one.
Does anybody want to be the alternate? I mean, I'll be the alternate for that, unless Sarah or Ed, you want to be the alternate for that? No. Okay, I'll be the alternate for that one. Anti-bullying task force, like, I want to be on that one. I mean, I'd like to be on that one too, unless somebody else wants to. Someone? Okay. Does anybody want to be the alternate for that one? Okay. Transportation?
And I'll do transportation. If you need an alternate for anti-bullying, I could be an alternate if you.
Okay, so anti-bullying. Okay. Transportation, Sarah and Ed? Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, does anybody, do either one of you want to be the alternate, or? I can be the alternate for that one. And we have wellness, which is, food service is incorporated in that one.
What else is in that one? It says food services incorporated, but what is the rest? Incorporated with
Because,
what?
because there was a wellness committee and there was a food service committee. So now there's just a wellness committee. Because they both discussed the same things at different times.
That was my question, was like, when they were not combined, what were they each talking about, but apparently the same thing, okay.
So we have Sarah, and who else was gonna be on it? Because I don't mind being on it if nobody else wants to take that one. Okay. And then budget advisory. I mean, I'd like to be on that one too.
Who's chairing that?
Who's chairing budget advisory?
We could either have the superintendent of the schools, we could have the business official.
So you don't have a chair. So
Well, that's actually one of my discussion items tonight, is when we wanted to, we have over 40 people from the community who have expressed interest in terms of updating them when we'd like the committee to convene for the first time.
I'll
I
be
would say
the alternate.
superintendent would chair it, and we can discuss during discussions when we'd like to convene it.
Is that what we want to do at this point? Everybody?
I assume it's a public, so I'll just go if I can. I just don't know when they're
Yeah,
meeting,
that's
so.
what I want to do too. I mean, I'd like to be part of it officially. Does anybody else want to be that board member?
I'm okay with you, if everyone else is, if you and Ed are main and I'm alternate, because I don't know when it is, so I don't want to commit to being one of the,
Okay, all right, so. Budget, yeah, I put myself and then Melissa.
It's also a public,
It's a public meeting.
it's a public committee, so a lot of people can just go. So, I mean,
Just be the board appointment.
right.
right.
Okay, so just to clarify, Sabrina, do you have all of that? Do you want me to go over it again, or you want to read back what you have? Make sure that we have.
Okay.
So for our health and safety, I have Sarah, Ed, and Melissa as the alternate. For policy, I have Marisol, Melissa, and Jackie as the alternate. Emergency management, I have Jackie, Marisol, and Melissa as the alternate. Technology, I have Ed, Melissa, and Marisol as the alternate. Mental health, I have Jackie, Sarah, and Marisol as the alternate. Curriculum, this is the one I think I had a question on. I have Marisol, Melissa, and Ed as the alternate. Is that correct?
That's what I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Disabilities awareness, I have Jackie, Marisol, and Melissa as the alternate. Drug and alcohol, I have Melissa, Marisol, and Jackie as the alternate. Anti-bullying task force, I have Sarah, Jackie, and Ed as the alternate. Transportation, I have Sarah, Ed, and Jackie as the alternate. Wellness, I have Sarah and Jackie. I have no alternate for that. And for budget advisory, I have Ed, Jackie, and Melissa as alternate.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There should be a resolution. Just for the agenda, is there a resolution making those appointments?
Yes.
Okay.
Next, we have meeting minutes. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of June 9th, 2026, June 12th, 2026, July 6th, 2026, July 7th, 2026, and July 9th, 2026?
Motion.
Second.
The only thing that I want to say about these, and is that there was an item on the, let me just look at my note here, on one of the previous meetings, and it was tabled. There was an item for a repeater and antenna installation project, and it's not on this, it was supposed to be tabled, that's on the meeting minutes, which is correct. It was supposed to be tabled for this meeting, but it's not on this meeting's agenda.
Well, we've been meeting since then with IT, security, transportation, and we're hoping, we have a follow-up meeting on Tuesday next week, and we're hoping to be able to bring it forth for the 28th agenda.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now we on to the reorganization agenda. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 46?
I actually have, I would like to pull and table,
Okay. I have many questions too. Do I do the motion and a second to approve?
because I want to
No,
table
we'll
one
table
of them.
Okay.
I want
okay.
to table number 32, because we never actually spoke of any of those contracts that are on there. Is it 31?
I thought it was 31 too.
I think it's 31 now. 31, okay. So tabling 31.
32 though.
Well, you know what, I guess everything got shifted at some point.
Equal is the appointment of an asbestos.
Yeah, see how it says on here anyway. Unless we can, Mr. Fasano, pull the contracts and approve the confidential employee. Can we do that? Can we do partial?
Well, they're still employed and they're still your confidential employees. The conditions in the contract are telling what their benefits are. If you do not approve their benefits, they would just remain the same. So they're still employed as of tomorrow, even if you table them.
Got it.
So is
So
it
there any-
32 or 31?
It's 31.
Number
right
31.
now.
Well, it might be.
Today, it's 31.
might
It's
be
31 today.
So there are no changes with any of them, right?
32
Resident, the confidentials?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's why we want to table them. Precisely.
So we're gonna table 31.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. The reason this is on the reorg,
Your microphone is off, sir.
the reason this is on the reorg, Reza, is because each year, the confidential status of all these employees gets basically re-updated. One of them has a separate contract that we still have to review that would still occur regardless of this piece.
So whether they're confidential or managerial is determined by PERB, so PERB will have designated them confidential or managerial, so that designation stays until it's removed by PERB. So they are still technically confidential, if this would just be the approval of their agreements. They still remain in their position even if you take no action tonight.
Okay, so this is something that's probably been pro forma for a number of years, so as the board requested, we'll table that.
Okay, does anybody have anything else they'd like tabled? Okay. All right. Anything else
I don't have
tabled?
anything else to table. I do have other questions, but
Okay. You have something else you want to table?
Yeah.
Okay, you just put your,
Alrighty. The issue that I was talking about with I don't have a problem, but I need it split up. With,
oh, that's on the next agenda, consent agenda. That's not on this one.
okay, gotcha.
Yes. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a motion and second, and I do have some questions, so that will come after the motion and second. Okay. A motion and a second to approve items 2 through 30 and 32 through 46 of the, and to table item 31 of the reorganization agenda.
Motion.
Second. And I know we have questions and things to talk about. I don't know. Go
Sorry.
on, so if you want to go.
sure. So on number 4, if we could just add the word designee to the title.
Yes, I see that, where it says business and operations slash business official.
Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations / or
Yes.
designee.
Designee, okay.
For number 5, same thing.
All right,
And if I could get a roll call vote on 29. And is it 29? Hold on a second, because it might have changed. Yep, 29,
Appointment of residency officer?
nope. 28. Yes. Hold on, and also number 30.
Okay, so now at this point, do I ask for another motion in a second? How does that work, that there's a roll call for just 2 items?
So, if there are any more changes, what we can do is we can amend these items and or designate, and then we would also pull 28, 30.
Perfect. I don't have any.
I don't have any other changes, I just have things that I'd like to,
I have a question. So you were talking, I just want to clarify, on 30, you're talking about this, right? And that we're putting this person?
Yes.
Okay, so my thing is, I'm sorry, my thing is, and I guess I want to ask that, do I ask that question now or later? When we're,
Depends what the question is.
I don't know what your question is.
exactly. So
If you want, we can table it and we can bring it back to exec.
bring it back to exec. And I'm very specific about 30. Okay.
tabling 30 and 30.
30?
Okay.
Residency officer?
28 and 30.
28 and 30, right.
Right, Marisol, 20 and 30.
Yes.
I want to, I'm 29 and 30 for me.
That's fine.
And 29?
Yeah, because it's a part and parcel to this.
It's 28 and 29, because Sarah,
Right,
your
because we
printed
moved
one is
one backwards,
up one,
right, I'm sorry, so you're right, so it's 28 and 29, not,
Okay, so
because we moved, right. Do you see what I'm saying?
31, 30.
Just a question. This is publicly on the website, so we can just say the names of what they are so people aren't in the dark.
Yeah, we're table, yes,
Question
No,
pertaining.
what the item is, yes, we can say that publicly, what
Right,
the
so
item
it's,
is, yeah.
it's appointment of attendance officer, appointment of residency officer,
and the appointment of the Title IX compliance officer.
Yeah,
and 28, 29, 30 in that order.
Yes.
right.
We already did
No,
30.
no, and then, right, I'm sorry, yes, because the 32 actually was moved back, so that's 31.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so just to be clear, and I apologize, this is a huge agenda. And I'm walking into this kind of for the
look at
first
this.
time, so thank you for your patience. So we already tabled 31, and now we want to table 28, 29, and 30. So I have to do another motion and a second. Is that correct?
You want to have those tabled, or we just bring them back to exec?
I mean, I was ready to vote on them, but if Sarah has questions, then
I have questions, we'll address them exactly.
We'll table them for
that's fine.
So just, you would call for a motion.
I'm sorry, with the exception of 31.
We already tabled 31. That one's already been tabled, so
Gotcha.
that's not part of it. Okay, so can I call for a motion in a second to approve reorganization items 2 through 27 and 30? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so can we just have a motion to amend items 4 and 5 as discussed by Marisol to add the word "or designee"?
Yeah, you could say it and I can
Someone call for a motion.
Yeah, motion.
Motion.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so 4 and 5. And now I can do what I was just about to do.
Just leave off 20.
Got it, okay. Can I call for a motion in a second to approve items 2 through 27 and 31, I'm sorry, 32 through 46 of the reorganization agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Now, I know we have questions, so we tabled other items, we do have questions. I mean, I can go first, I guess, and if anybody has anything else to add. The first thing I want to do, because I want to make sure that the public, if you're looking at this, because there is a lot on here, there were many items that you will notice, and Marisol kind of brought this up before, about designee, the ones that we changed, and that is because we don't yet have a business official somebody in that position, so if anybody's looking at that, that's where that is coming from, where normally it's not like that. But, so there were a number of items that you'll see with that. The other thing I wanted to ask about was number 2, the acceptance of policies. Just a quick question about the cell phone one. And I know that the memo states, let me go to the cell phone memo, that the anticipated cost of the plan for the 26-27 year is $3,000. And it's saying it's reasonable. 3,000 is still, can I just have an explanation of that, because it's still kind of a high number for cell phone bill, I thought.
I'd have to get you that information. I could email the board.
Does anybody else feel that that's, I mean, I don't know, I just thought, looking at it, a cell phone bill, 3,000.
But when I was looking at it, I thought it was high, and then I didn't know if it was on par for like a business or a school. So I don't know if they have a different plan for being in a business.
Similarly, but then I followed on where it says it's part of the New York State Office of General Services pricing, consider, like, you can go down a rabbit hole. I guess whatever they say goes, right? Like, what we think is reasonable, apparently they don't. But it does align with what that said. I actually just, like, had another thing about that. Can we just make sure that the titles on this letter are accurate? Because, for example, whether or not the people are taking the cell phones, that's just not even what their position is called. Like, Director of Buildings and Grounds is really Director of Facilities. And, like, Director of Physical Education is a much longer title. Like, that's just not what their title is. And I just feel like it should be accurately representing who does what. And this is where things start to get dicey, when it's like, that's not me, that's not my, just to be
So
clear.
just in doing the math real quick, it's $125 a month per cell phone for the year at $3,000. So I think that
Okay, that's what I want to make sure that it's in line with what it should be for something like that. Another question I had was for number, and I believe the number I have here is accurate, I changed my numbers, is 16, designation of insurance brokers. What is Qantas? And we're paying them $13,109.61. And the other question I have is, last year we had Islands Psychiatry for NICEAD Section 913. We don't have that anymore, so do we no longer need that? Is somebody else covering that? And it also, some of the content differs from item number 42 on this reorganization agenda, but they both are called designation of insurance brokers. Like, there's 2 items on the reorg that titled designation of insurance brokers, but the information in there that we would be approving is different.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reza.
So, item 16, designation of insurance brokers, and item 42, designation of insurance brokers, are 2 different entities. The number 16, that is the insurance for our employees, Delta Dental for the teachers union. Qantas in there deals with the Affordable Care Act. And those 1095s that go home at tax time, those are all administered through Qantas. So they manage our Affordable Care Act. As far as 42 is concerned, these are different insurances. They're workers' compensation insurance, excess workers' compensation. These are student accident. These are insurances that protect the district that we manage. The others are for the employees.
Okay, and that's fine. I understand the difference in needing to. It's just that they were both titled the same thing on here. So I guess, yeah, just
We could
for
have
future.
designated in parentheses.
Yeah,
Could have
just
designated
to,
in parentheses, employees or personnel, and then for number 42, district.
okay. Yeah, just even for the public, if they're looking at this, they're looking at it quick, they see 2 of the same items on there. They look the same when you look at it at a quick glance. Another one, I just wanted to know, number 18, designation of board professional organization membership. What are the fees that we are paying for each of these organizations? Do we have that information? The ones for NISBA, the Islip Town School Boards?
I actually do get some of those. I know recently I received the Nassau Suffolk School Board Association. I believe theirs last year was like $65 for the year. Yeah, so, but I get them throughout the year at different times, like New York State School Board Association, I got theirs last year in like January, February. So I can reach out to them and I can get that information for you.
Yeah, I was under the impression that the Nassau Suffolk School Boards is considerably more than.
Like 27,000, I thought, something
up in the-
astronomical.
Something in the tens of thousands.
I would have to take a look. I'll take a look and I'll get that information for you. Okay, similarly on that one, while you're
I
on
think
that,
someplace in the world of 20,000-ish.
while you're on that number, I wanted to just also know what is it that Islip, I don't know, Islip Town School Boards Association, like, I just don't know if I've never heard us even talk about, like, utilizing anything. I've heard Nassau Suffolk, New York State, like, we've referenced those plenty of times, we've gone to things that they hold. This feels like new to me entirely, that we even have a membership with, like, I'm just curious on what is part of that and how much it was. That was my question.
But correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it was, you know how we get notified of different things that are going on with the town of Islip, and I know everybody thinks it pertains to when it's with Connecticut, but if I'm not mistaken, it's the town of Islip. I could be wrong, but maybe you could check on that, Sabrina?
Yeah, it might be like those public hearing notices that we get, that might be what it's signed up for.
I feel like we shouldn't have to pay membership to get those, so if that's the case, then that.
Well, they're sending out, letters, like I received a registered letter, I think all of us did, but could you find out?
Yeah,
Find
I'll
out what the
find- yeah,
fee
just
is, and because I do want to be notified of things that we can go and protest if it's, like the golf course and, right.
Property stuff.
Do we want to table this then till we find that information out? How does the
Sure.
board feel about that? Sure. Should I continue asking? I have one more question on there, and maybe then we'll table it after that. Okay, not really a question. My last thing, I just want to let the community know, just in full transparency, that the last item, 46, designation of external auditor, we just approved last week PKF O'Connor Davies to be our external auditor. But for this coming year, the books will be closed by Cullen and Danowski. I just want to put that out there so the community knows they're going to be closing our books, and then our new company will take over for the next school year. Just in full transparency, community. I don't know if anybody has anything else you want to talk about on this, and then we can go back and table the other item.
My question was just, does 46, did we not move part of the reorg to last week and do that last week? So now we're just revoting on this same thing again? Yeah. So, for why? It just feels disordered. I mean, I can understand, it might not be a big deal, you know what I mean?
That's me
But,
being the first time looking at this with these new set of eyes, and
No, it's not you. It's that it was discombobulated, and we clearly,
it's not, it might not be harmful to like do it again, it's just like I would like,
It's common on the reorg agenda to have the external auditor. So
right,
that
that's
doesn't happen.
Right, which is why we did a part reorg last week to approve them.
specifically for that, that's why I was asking.
You can have it removed.
let's clarify though, it's for the forensic audit.
No,
deep
no,
dive.
No, not this one, this is the external auditor.
Gotcha.
Last meeting, if the community's confused, because I know there was a lot of conversation up here. So one of our meetings last week, we had 3 of them, we did appoint this company, PKF O'Connor Davies, to do our forensic audit as well as to become our external auditor for the upcoming school year. So the confusion up here is because they are back on the agenda as the external auditor, which we don't necessarily need to do. It's just something that's typically on a reorganization agenda, which is why it's on here. So I want to now just ask the board, do we want to have that removed as well, since we already did that? We'll remove that one?
Well, it just seems
Duplicative.
senseless, because we already did it. I'm okay voting again on it.
Same, I just wanted to make sure it was the same thing, like, you know what I mean? We're just really solidifying the decision here.
All right, so leave it, all right for now, so.
I did have one other question.
Yeah,
before we make
go ahead.
Number 37, appointment of auditor for student activities. I just want to understand what why there's a stipend attached to it, really, at the end of the day, because I feel like we've talked about this a lot in public, especially like just the stipends, like everywhere. If it's a very labor intensive or extra, but it feels like, the reason I'm asking is when I read through all these other things that are getting appointed, they all very specifically say at no additional cost, at no additional cost. They're doing something, this is like the only one that doesn't. I'm just curious on what that entails and like what the difference is, I guess.
This is, Nancy Quad is the faculty auditor for the extra classroom activities. She goes building to building to manage the funds that clubs raise when they do their fundraisers and things of that nature. She's been doing this for the past 10 or 15 years, and this is the appointment of that student activity. So this is a $5,000 stipend that she has received year after year for the last 10 or so years.
And it's a steady number?
It's been $5,000 for.
I just wanted to know what exactly it entailed, because I think that we had a lot of conversation about the clubs. I understand, though, you're saying it's specific to the money component of
Correct.
student activities, not like all the.
Correct.
Got it. That's fine.
I have a question. Is she clerical?
Yes.
Okay.
And what office does she work out of?
She works out of the business office. She's in the payroll department, the accounts payable department. She works out of there.
Okay, and presumably she's getting reimbursed in addition, for the driving additionally? In other words, the stipend is.
I'd have to look at that. I'm not sure if she gets reimbursed or puts in mileage. I don't think she does. I think this stipend covers that.
Okay, that's the question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. I just clarified.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. All right, so now can I call for a motion and second? Wait, I have to table first, right? To table item 18? No. Okay. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 17, 19 through 27, and 32 through 46 of the reorganization agenda?
Motion?
No, make sure.
Yeah, please.
Okay, the numbers were to approve items 2 through 17, 19 through 27, and then 32 through 46.
Second.
And we pulled the others.
Yes, we pulled the others. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, can I please have a motion and a second to suspend the business meeting and convene the public hearing of the district-wide safety plan and code of conduct?
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So Mr. Dennis Walsh will do a brief presentation on the district-wide safety plan.
You got me first. I'm going to be very.
first.
I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to give a global overview, and I appreciate Mrs. Parisi had asked a question about what is the Emergency Management Committee, and it gives us an opportunity to really highlight and showcase what goes on here, because New York State education law mandates a total of 6 positions. To get those 6 mandated together. So we have a very big turnout. Every time we get together, we bring about 15 items, minimum of 15 items to the table, and then at the end of it, we open it up to any suggestions. Those 15 items usually come from the X amount of districts that we work with when we start to see patterns and things happening out there, and we bring it back to the larger group to discuss how we continue to improve. Dennis is going to get a little bit more granular as to what the plan actually entails, but what's being presented tonight, our plans are never finished. So they're always continuing to evolve based upon what's happening out there, based upon recommendations and what continues to happen out of the buildings. But I do want to acknowledge all our administrators in the district that sit on that, and again, most importantly, the volunteers that take the time to come forward. It puts us at a different level, so I just wanted to speak to that. Dennis?
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don. So, good evening, all. My name is Dennis Walsh. I'm the district security consultant here for Connecticut, and I work alongside with Mr. Flynn, our director of security, who you just heard from. So tonight, I'm here to present the proposed 2026-2027 district-wide safety plan. This evening, we'll begin the required 30-day public comment period before the board can consider adoption of this plan. The plan was developed by a district-wide safety team, as Mr. Flynn just explained in more detail what we do. This includes representatives from the Board of Education, Ms. Madeline, Ms. Taragrosa, thank you for taking part last year, district administration, staff, parents, and members of the community. Taking this time to thank each of you for your continued commitment in keeping our schools safe. This district-wide safety plan is a public document and is currently available on the district's website. It's going to outline our overall approach to maintaining a safe and secure learning environment for our students, staff, and visitors. This is separate from our confidential building level plans, and those contain sensitive security information, and they are not available to public. As of this time right now, the plan, the district-wide plan is available on the CCSD website for public viewing, and we welcome any questions and comments, and they can be submitted to safetyplan2627@ccsdli. And I thank you all for your time and your continued support in school security. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
And again, just to clarify for the community and reiterate, the email is safetyplan2627@ccsdli.org, and you will have 30 days to submit any questions or comments that you may have on this plan. And this plan is posted to our website for the public. Where do we have it posted on there?
Mr. Walsh, we're on the website as we pull up the website.
It's on the Board of Education for the district health emergency plan.
It's also, if you go onto the main CCSD page under security, you'll see it listed there, and we have the draft for public viewing at this time.
Okay.
In the past, we made it a pop-up on the
was
website. As
just
soon
gonna
as they
say.
click, can we just do it again?
Yes,
We'll
please.
contact them.
So I'll get that to be a pop-up tomorrow for you guys.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. All right, I will now call up Mr. Rezakola-Hifat to do a presentation on the Code of Conduct.
Good evening, all. There's a 30-day comment period for the Code of Conduct, and any changes that were made I will talk about right now. So the Code of Conduct, the Policy Committee is headed by Dr. Joanne Pisani, the Director of Pupil Personnel Services. The revision of the Code of Conducts, they're made annually. The committee met twice this year. They met May 14th and they met on June 1st. The committee meets to review the policy and make any recommendations, and the recommendations are typically guided by the New York State School Boards Association. The submission to the Board of Ed for review after approval, and then adoption is recommended. Some of the policy, again, I don't want to read everything here, but the Code of Conduct policy clearly defines expectations of acceptable conduct for students and essential partners. So we use that as a guide oftentimes when there are disciplinary matters that need to be handled throughout the school district, and the board can read through some of the other bulleted items there for the Code of Conduct. As far as the suggested changes, there weren't very many. One of them was we were going to add a table of contents, which, of quite frankly, makes sense, and I can't believe there wasn't one prior to this. Some of the student support, on page 9, you'll see that there was a number 2. We added the DASA coordinators after the school psychologists. That was a suggestion by the committee. And then the expected student conduct was also amended. Page 14, in the fourth paragraph, after proms, we added walking at graduation. These are some of the disciplinary items that, students may, encounter if their behaviors are not what they are supposed to be. Section A, number 7, after skateboard, we did add wear roller sneakers. Those have become popular over the last few years. Those are the little wheelies that come into your sneakers at the heel. And then we also needed to account for the virtual private network, or the VPN. So we added that as well. On page 17, number 11, we removed some of the verbiage, would foreseeably, those are the words that were used, and we replaced that with may. And then on page 18, we added the improper use of AI. Again, this is something that has come into play as of late. AI is a very powerful tool, so this, along with some of the other items, we added. Some of the additional recommendations for changes are basically just housekeeping items, grammatical, formatting changes that occurred. So you can find the entire 52-page code of conduct listed on the district's website. It is underneath where, if you go to the district link, it actually specifically says code of conduct. Dr. Pisani, over the next 30 days, if there are questions about the code of conduct, you can email the email address that you can use is codeofconduct2026-27@ccsdli.org. Dr. Pisani will receive those if there are any questions and get back to anybody.
Thank you. And again, just to reiterate that for the community, the email is codeofconduct2026-27@ccsdli.org. That goes directly to Dr. Joanne Pisani. And this code of conduct for the community to view is on our website. It is under the district tab, but I would like that, because there's a 30-day comment period for that one as well. So if the board agrees, I would like that to be highlighted so that people know they can comment and whatever they'd like to add. Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for anybody or anything? Okay. I will now open the floor for the public comment portion of the agenda. This is for the public hearing portion only. That's what we just went over with the presentations. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a numbered card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, positions, grade, or building. The use of foul language or threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. And I believe we did not get okay, I apologize. There were no cards given. And anybody want to speak? All right, so can I please have a motion and second to adjourn the public hearing on the district-wide safety plan and code of conduct to reconvene the business meeting?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are now moving on to financial matters. Okay. And we are going to do these separately. There are 9 of them, there are 8 of them on here. So can I please have a motion and a second to accept the claims auditor report for June 2026?
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
If the board wants more time, you can take as much time as you need.
We're still on the first one. Claims auditor?
Yes, we're still on the first one, which is
Sorry,
number
let's-
2. That's okay. Number 2 under financial matters.
I'm okay on that.
Did these numbers also move? Or no?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
'Cause
As far as I know, they
I don't think so.
didn't, but
Okay.
make sure.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have an all in favor? This one I feel.
Yes, there was.
Okay. All right, motion carries. Can I please have a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report for May 2026? That's number 3.
Second. I have a question on this one.
Sure.
Maybe somebody could explain the scholarship accounts. I thought the scholarships came from the PTAs. I didn't know that there were separate accounts for all these scholarships. It's page 10. $105,000 in there, which
I can provide more detail to the board tomorrow with checking in with the business office. But I think when the funds come in, they need a place to be deposited. But I will forward the board more formal response tomorrow.
okay. Because is it just these scholarships? Because I know I was on scholarship committees and the funds came out of the PTAs or whatever office was actually giving the scholarship out.
Did you want to table it or?
I mean, I'm going to abstain from voting, so
Okay. All right, so do we want to do a roll call vote for this one?
number 3 on the
We're number
on the
3 on
personnel
the
on the business.
financial.
Yeah, financial.
Treasurer's report, May 2026.
I'm an abstain, so.
That's fine. We'll do a roll call vote. Okay. Do I have to go in any particular order for a roll call vote or just on the table?
I'll go in favor.
I'll start with Ed. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ed?
Yes.
I am a yes. Sarah?
Abstaining?
Marisol?
I'm going to abstain.
And Melissa?
I'm also going to abstain. I feel like we should just have that answer when we ask it, so.
So the motion fails?
It does.
What? Motion fails. No. I'll go to the next item. Okay. Can I please have a motion and a second to accept the overtime reports for July 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026?
Motion.
Yes, I'll second. Any questions?
So, I'm gonna vote okay on this, but again, we have discussed this in public session, we've discussed it privately in public. I want everybody who's worked to get paid, but you know where I stand on this. So,
I actually thought we discussed not even having them on the agenda because this is just a formality at this point.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because this was something that I wanted to bring forward. I know Beth had mentioned something that it's something, if you could just go back and say what you were saying, I think it was an agenda setting that we have to, it's already done. The money's already spent. So essentially, our vote is, as Marisol was saying, kind of, it's just a formality.
The entire section, we had a discussion about overtime, but even the entire section on financial matters, Sabrina has started to look at other school districts and what they list. This is all vital information that the board should have, certainly the public, should have as well. It's just a matter of how it's listed and whether or not it's something that is truly an item that is, the board can, approve or reject, or if it's information that's acknowledged or accepted. So that's, it started with a conversation on the overtime, and the last agenda setting, we just started to talk with the president and vice president, and asked for Sabrina to kind of research a little bit about this section so that information can be brought to the entire board.
I don't know what that means. And I don't know what that means. I think our where we are a bit perturbed with this is that, yes, very vital information that I would like to see before the money, like before it happens. That's the only thing we're saying. Not saying that it's not, I don't know what you just said, but I'm just saying I just want to see, I think the point is that we never want somebody to work overtime and not get paid for it, ever. But we also are getting it 3 months after the fact.
But not only that, we're not going to not approve these, right? First of all, they've been paid. What are we going to ask them for their money back? And people work this, and yes, it should be transparent to the community, but we don't have everybody's payroll here, so I don't understand why we do payroll. It's a line on the budget, so it just seems senseless to put them here unless you're going to put everybody's payroll statuses here.
Could someone explain why Sabrina's doing something? I'm so confused. You work for the board. I'm really confused. What is that?
We were looking at other school districts to see how they put it on their agenda. I had called NISBA to find out if that was something that had to be done, if the board had to actually vote on it. So it is an informational piece. That's why we changed the word to accept, not approve, because it ultimately would not change the fact if the board voted on it or not. It's an informational piece.
So I think I'm the one who brought up the overtime reports and that there was no legal need to approve them every month, especially since you've already been approving them. So rather than calling this, but if you want, you and I, we can maybe talk this week and I can go through it with you and I can give you an example of how other districts do it, and then we just take it from there and send it to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so someone clarify for me, Anthony. Is it the norm to spend overtime money and then bring it to the board for approval? Because I need that clarified.
No, I think I brought that up last time, that the overtime reports, they've already been paid, so I think I questioned why you were approving them if they had already been approved and already paid. And I think the board's frustration is that rather than looking at overtime reports from July 1, 2025 through May 31st, 2026, closer to May, you would like to see when the May overtime is getting paid, you would like that information in real time, which would be a separate issue. You don't need to vote upon that. That could just be information provided to you.
Thank you.
Do we want to table this?
No, there's nothing to table. I mean,
Nothing to table.
we're all
Okay.
accepting it, right?
Okay, all right.
Well, I am anyway. I'll
Yeah.
accept it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion and a second to accept the revenue status reports from July 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026? I have a question about this. Number 5.
I just had a question as to why, we have to do the motion in a second first, right? Motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My question is why did we need one that goes to April 30th and another one to May 31st? And again, why do we need any of it if it's all just, here's your information from 2.5 months ago, and plus a year ago? This is all just accepting it at this point, so I don't even, whatever, but I'm just confused on why these are two separate when they're just, one brings you up to 1 month and then the next one brings you up to 1 month later, for why?
And I think this is partially because, which is what I wanted to ask about, which actually leads right into my next question. At the July, was it July? One of our previous meetings, we actually tabled this because I had a question about it. Why is the F fund in the negative while the A and C funds were in the positive? Because it was just all over the place. So I think that's why it's back on here, because we didn't prove it now. However, given that, it's back on here for that reason. But now when I actually compare the numbers, for instance, I pulled out my one, June 9th meeting, that's the one, I have it on here. And I compare, I'm just gonna pull one of these out. The account, F0021-26, Title 1A 25/26. June 9th, it showed there was zero budgeted, zero adjustments, zero revised budget, a revenue earned of $90,151, unearned revenue negative $90,151. Now, when that was given to us again with those same dates, now it's showing that we were budgeted $232,864. Why a month later is there a budget number there when a month ago it was zero? Revised budget, like the numbers from a month ago on that one, even it seems, I didn't go through all of them, but all these that have a 26, they were all zero a month ago. That was budgeted for. Now all of a sudden they have a number in their column.
So I know after the board had that request, the business office went back and the revenue budget was added for 25-26. That's a notation I have. To be consistent with the other funds. I can get a further explanation.
I mean, consistency is great, but is it realistic? Because if there was no budget, nothing budgeted for that particular account, how is there suddenly a few weeks later there's over 200,000 budgeted for it? Where did it come from? It's just inconsistent to me when I look at this.
And that's the notation I have, to be consistent with the other funds.
And it just seems that a month ago, those were some of the big numbers. The total for the entire report last time, which is really why I looked at it, it's so much, was negative $28,397,556.37. So I went back and said, that's a huge negative number. So now when I look at all of these and I see the ones that seem to be different this time were some of those major negative numbers last time contributing to that. So I'm confused.
I'll get a more detailed explanation to the board tomorrow.
No. Let's have, that's very strategically what we need the auditors to look at. Okay, because it just makes no sense. That's it. So, Sabrina, can you do me a favor and take a notation that that's part and parcel to what we're going to have the auditors look at? Thank you.
Do we want to do a roll call vote? I'm not accepting this. So I don't know what we want to do. Roll call?
I mean, you can roll call it.
Okay, all right, Ed?
Just to confirm, we're still on, which one? Because
We're on five.
Yeah,
You want to do 5 and 6 together?
The one that ends April 30th, 2026, number 5. So, Ed?
Well, question, is there any reason that we can't table it until we get more information? It sounds like many people.
You can table it if you want to seek more information, I think, and if the auditors are going to be looking at it, maybe providing the board with an update and answer some of those questions would be.
I would table 5 and 6 then.
I would too. Okay.
I make a motion to table 5 and 6.
Yes, can I do them together?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Sorry. That's okay. That's okay. All in favor to table numbers 5 and 6?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And just to clarify for the community why we suddenly jumped to 6, I know there's a lot going on up here. The one we were just speaking extensively about was revenue status reports from July 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. That was number 5. Number 6 is very similar, but it goes a month more. So it's the revenue status reports from July 1st, 2025. This one is through May 31st, 2026. So that thing kind of encompasses what is in number 5. So that's why we are tabling both. They're kind of similar. One just a month longer time period than the other, just so the community is aware. All right, so we're going to move on now to the next one. Number 7. Cheat sheet. can I please have a motion and a second to accept the trial balance reports from July 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026?
Again, I'm sorry. Any monetary thing, I need the auditors, the external auditors. Just these things are not making sense.
Does the board want to just table 7, 8, and 9 at the moment? Okay. All right. So can I have a motion and a second to table?
Motion.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to let the community know what we're doing.
I'm really sorry.
That's okay. To table item 6, revenue status reports. I'm sorry, we just did it one. Number 7, trial balance reports, July 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. Item 8, appropriation status reports, July 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. And cash flow report, July 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. This is a motion to table those items. Sarah, you motioned already?
Motion.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Oh, there's a... Okay, now we're doing the personnel matters. Instructional and non-instructional. And I have a motion and a second to approve the instructional and non-instructional personnel items as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
No, well, I have,
I forgot, any questions? Sorry.
I didn't say hi, I said no, hi. I just have a couple of comments. So, especially with the club one, the elementary and the secondary club one, if we can have someone keep an eye on attendance at those clubs, and if the attendance is not there, then maybe we can revisit the club and see if we actually need it to be in operation. For the coaches one, I did ask Mr. Mallory just before, because I saw a couple of coaches were missing, but he did mention that there were some listings still out, some postings. Right, that were being interviewed. And I just want to make sure that the coach is kept in the position that we're approving them for. Is that something that, okay, perfect. Those were the only 2 comments I had.
And we will tell the building principals to speak with their club advisors as the school year starts, because sometimes you have a club in the very beginning of the year that can be robust, and then the interest and turnout can wane, and we have discussed that.
I have a question. I just want to verify that there's no actually new positions. What we're appointing is people who have been with us that need to be reappointed. Is that accurate?
Yes, I believe so.
I actually was looking through it also because I wanted to make sure of that, and a lot of it was curriculum writers or subs, that were being hired, so I didn't notice any new positions.
Well, I do want to be fair to the question, okay? There are 2 positions in particular, the .5 positions, that I don't want to call them new because they were...
Because it said reassign or whatever it said?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. But those are not new, but those did not exist. They existed in a full-time capacity. Now they are existing in a part-time capacity.
Okay.
I want to make a comment. There's a couple of things that I think down the road, and I'm just speaking to the board, I think that this needs to be addressed. I think we have to find out, I guess on all staff, what the, how do I phrase this? What the absentee rate is. If we are in fact losing money because we have a high absentee rate, I don't know. I don't know those answers. So I'd like some sort of...
If the board is so inclined, I can provide a weekly update on attendance of all employees beginning in September.
Okay, and again, just want to, because doing due diligence, we could feasibly be losing a lot of money in that capacity.
when you have high absentee rate, high absentee rate, we are paying a salary, right? And we're also paying for subs.
And
So
not,
I want
not
to
to
know what
mince,
the dynamic
not
is.
to mince words, we're not losing money, we're spending more.
Right, that's what I
So-
just said.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just curious as to, I don't believe that we have that higher rate. I want to know, having said that as well, I want to find out about these people that we are hiring. We have a major deficit, okay? I'm sitting here and I'm approving things and I get it. I get that these positions are on there. I still want to know, okay?
Yeah.
Again, I want to know the PTR, I want to know all about this. And again, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, I just want to know these answers. It doesn't really make sense to me, with all the cuts we've made, then to come double back and hire again. Again,
Yeah.
just throwing that out.
And I'm fine with, if the board wants to see that, that's fine. I am going to give credit where credit's due and echo a little bit of something I've heard Marisol say. I'm also of the belief that if people have the time to take, then I don't want to be like, who, we can't tell them they can't take the time, right? But my other, and one more.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's, yeah, because the way it's sounding, if I were sitting at home, is that like the board is going to be nitpicking every requested day off of somebody who has time, and like that I don't want to do. And I
Not at all what I'm talking about.
So just, that was, because that's why I looked at you when you said it, because I thought you were quite literally like, I want to see everybody who's taking a day off all the time.
So let me clarify. Clearly, we have a year-long thing. I want to say, I'm not looking to nitpick. If someone has, that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to help this district so we don't have to fire more people than necessary, clearly. Save money in any way we can.
And then similarly on something Marisol said, I had a similar point written down. I want to make sure that if we are approving somebody into I'm just gonna, varsity coach position, they are coaching the varsity sport. Similarly, not that they are using a volunteer to coach the sport and then going and hanging out at the JV, right? Like I want to make sure if we're approving somebody to be a specific thing, that is what they are doing. Not that we have, that's for clubs as well, right? Like if we're approving somebody to do newspaper club, that they are not leaving somebody else in the room to cover newspaper club and do not just coaches. I'm saying across the board because from what, we hear sometimes from people is that that's not the person running that club or that's not that, and that is the person we're approving right now. So I want to make sure that we are what we are approving, that actually matters because it's not done yet, right? This is actually happening.
Okay, so if the board wants that information, we'd like to have that then. The board members would like that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will now open the floor to the first open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. No cards, though, right? We still have no cards, okay. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. We have a few people here. Want to speak? Anyway. So I read that twice and nobody wants to speak? Okay. All right. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Can I call for first, should I ask if anybody wants to table anything on the consent agenda?
Maybe we should.
Okay. All right. Before I call for the motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, does anybody have anything they would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Well, what I want.
Oh, yes, we want to pull for a separate vote.
No, I want to poll
And table?
discuss. Yeah, I want to table it.
You want to table it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to table.
Important.
Okay, so one of the ones that we're gonna table is number 11, bid analysis and recommendation, bid number 270508226-1, athletic and physical education uniforms. Are
I'm
there-
actually okay with the uniforms, it was the other section.
Were there any others that anybody wanted to table?
We have Mr.
I don't want to table it, I just had some questions for Mr. Malloy on number 11.
Okay,
Yeah, Mr. Malloy did join us tonight. Perhaps we could raise the questions and then the board can make a decision.
so I'm doing a motion a second. All right, so can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 10 and 12 through 32 of the consent agenda?
Motion.
Consent agenda item without 11.
Consent agenda items 2 through 10 and then 12 through 32.
I'm okay,
Okay,
personally, I'm okay with 11.
okay, so motion and a second for those items. We have a motion from Ed.
I am, I'm okay with leaving 11 in there.
Is everyone else okay with 11 in there?
Yeah.
So now make the motion to
Okay.
approve the consent agenda as is.
As is. I am so sorry, I will get better at this, I swear. Okay, so we, very confusing. All right, so then I'm going to call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 32 of the consent agenda. Ed had motioned.
Yeah, motion.
Okay. I'll second. And now we will do any questions, and I know we want to have Mr. Malloy speak about number 11. Does that make sense? Okay, all right, Malloy, come on up.
Good evening, thank you for having me. So the uniform bid has been approved, and you just want me to answer questions then, or?
They haven't approved it yet. They're about to
Okay.
vote on it, so they just want to ask questions and give information about it.
Okay.
I just have a question.
Yep.
On the uniforms that are on here to be approved, they are just for game uniforms, or you have also practice uniforms? It was there was a lot of paper. We had a lot of papers to go through.
I understand.
It was a very heavy agenda, so I just want to make sure, and I know you said that just because we approve it, doesn't mean that you have to spend it, but that has not always been the trend here at ConnectQuad. 9 times out of 10, if we approve it, somebody's going to spend it, so I just want to make sure we're approving what we would like to have spent.
Yes,
That makes sense.
Right, if you approve this tonight, you are approving the bid that went out and came back, so we can get a good, fair, low price for the uniforms. Doesn't mean we have to purchase all of these. However, most of these, since we went back and with a fine tooth comb and we kept cutting and really getting just what the kids need, this is kind of down to what we think, we're presenting as what they need for this year. Generally speaking, just real quick, I'm actually glad I'm here because there's a lot of misinformation about uniforms. Uniforms are exciting. The kids love when they get their uniforms. It's not real exciting at a board meeting, but the process we go through, we don't just randomly pick teams that, want uniforms or got sick of the color they used to wear. The bottom line is we have a 5-year cycle. Okay, it doesn't mean at the end of 5 you're getting new uniforms, but that's usually when you're due. And we keep track of that. So if a coach comes in, maybe a new coach says, hey, I want new uniforms, we may say, you just received new uniforms 2 years ago. You're not due for uniforms. Okay, so that's kind of the starting point. And then we always try to use fill-ins whenever possible. So if the manufacturer is still making that uniform, For example, wrestling sweatshirt warm-ups are on here. I think he's down to 9. I forgot the number, it's in here. That company's been making that same sweatshirt for Coach Santoro and the wrestlers for like 50 years. So we don't have to buy 35 brand new sweatshirts. We get the fill-ins, all right? Sometimes the manufacturer stops making them, and we have to get brand new uniforms.
Okay, so I'm gonna be as blunt as possible.
Yes.
And as an athletic mom, with 3 athletic children, you know very well I support the athletic program. I just personally can't see myself approving warm-ups. Like, I would tell my kids to wear shorts and t-shirt from home before I approve a warm-up and I access a teacher. Especially in our climate right now. If we had money to burn, sure, everybody gets warm-up suits, everybody gets practice uniforms, that'd be great. I love a team that looks like a team, But that's just, and I saw a couple of items were retracted, but I do still see some warm-up items on there.
Right, so.
And I'm not trying to nitpick,
I
Ms.
understand.
Mallory, I'm just trying
It's a great question. It's a great question. So, we have the uniforms on here, or parts of uniforms, for example, the baseball hats that we have to get for sanitary reasons. So swimsuits, baseball hats, those are annual purchases for sanitary reasons, which is pretty standard across most districts. The warm-ups we have this year are volleyball, because they were due for warm-ups, and cheerleading, and the wrestling fill-ins. The purpose of the warm-up, especially in a sport like wrestling, is to get the heart rate up, get what they call the break a sweat rule going. So as soon as they get on the mat, their temperature is up, the heart rate's up, and they're ready to go. And that adds to safety and performance. I would say, I don't want to confuse something like shooting shirts and lacrosse with warm-ups. That's not what we're ordering there. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that comes from boosters or a donation. The school buys the uniform, and in this district, past practice before me was to buy warm-ups. That doesn't mean every district's going to buy warm-ups. Times get tight. I hear what you're saying.
I think for me to kind of, so like a hat and stuff like that, I get it, right? No question there.
So, yeah.
Like, no question on the sanitary component, but I feel there's a difference between what a want and a need, right? And it's with where we're at financially, if what we have can work for now, it makes a lot more sense to let it work than to spend the money, because they're just not cheap at the end of the day, right? Like, that's the reality. Unfortunately, it's expensive realm because it's all custom.
Sure, I mean, go shopping, you see how expensive
Right.
clothing is.
Literally.
I will say, just to note, while I do have the podium here, when I was hired 7 years ago, quite frankly, the uniform situation here was pretty bad. Worn, torn, discolored, teams didn't have matching uniforms, not enough uniforms, they didn't fit. And we had a lot of parents, actually, some of you were on the board or around here at the time, remember the parents coming in and complaining. So it's really important that we keep up. However, I do agree with you, in the fiscal times we're in, we got to be careful to order what we need and not what we want. So I do agree with you there, but I do want to make the point on how quickly this could go the other way. And if we don't kind of keep up on a uniform cycle, there'll be people here at this microphone saying, why doesn't my son have a jersey? So, we could look into the warm-ups. Like I said, this is the bid. We could have further discussion about the warm-ups. But I was just following past practice.
So I have a question for you. The bid process, do we do our due diligence on the lowest number?
If it matches the specs, yes, absolutely. That's why we go out to bid. And we could still go a step further. We could, for example, BSN always gives us a great discount, but we still go out to bid on all these uniforms. Let's say Rydell came in with a price and BSN chose not to bid on this. We could call BSN and say, because they're on a contract.
But that is actively going on.
Oh, all the time. All the time, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe clarify for me. A warm-up, right? Because I I quit sports early on in the career, you know what I mean? I was more of a read a book type girl. Are we talking about matching outfits at practice?
No.
No, not practice, no. I mean, they can wear their
Right before
warm-ups
the
at
game.
practice. I think.
When we're not in uniform yet, we're gonna match, then to go change, to go match in our uniforms. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm trying to ask, like, I'm trying to picture it in
No,
my
and
head,
that's-
why it's, like, what's happening.
That's a great point. So there's what I just call gear, outside gear that every team will have, and they do gear orders through the parents or the coach. It's extra. That's not the school district.
Yeah.
And while I'm actually glad I'm here because there's a lot of misinformation. The other thing is you may hear somebody say, hey, they may email you and say, why did I have to pay for a uniform? Okay, the school provides the uniform, right? That's our job. And this district, in the past, doesn't mean we have to go forward doing it, provided the kind of warm-up, and this is the example specific to your question, the wrestler has the sweatshirt on right before the match. He's up and down the side, jumping rope, getting ready, throws off the
Part of the
sweatshirt, gets
uniform.
on the mat, they go. That wrestler may have some other cool jacket he wears all day at school. That he received on a gear order. All right, so in this district, what we have paid for in the past is obviously the uniforms and the warm-ups in most cases. That's just past practice. I'm not telling you in this climate, that's what we should still be doing. That's a decision. But we are not buying extra gear. Also, we've had different teams, it's important too, getting back to the parents saying, why did I have to purchase a uniform? Some parents get together as boosters and say, let's do a special armed forces jersey. Okay, and all of a sudden the kids have this armed forces jersey on. If you want to do extra, that's fine. I always tell the coaches, though, make sure the parents in the booster club know we have provided a uniform. The district's not saying you have to buy an armed forces uniform for a special event. If you want to do that as a group, that's up to you. Hopefully that answers your question.
Well, to clarify, when I was on the swim team a gazillion moons ago, I bought my own swimsuit. So there are different times, different aspects. We're in tight times, I totally agree. But with wrestling, correct me if I'm wrong, the sweatshirt is a part of the actual uniform.
Well, I think that's why I was asking.
versus-
Certain
That's what he was
sports,
saying, he was saying the sweat
right?
up.
In my head, certain sports, this makes sense to have like to me, I can picture it with wrestling, right? There are certain sports that, to me, I don't necessarily think would need that. Like wrestling, that makes sense.
And
I won't get into swimming makes sense to me, right? Like I don't want you walking around in your swimsuit with a cap on all over the place warming up. But certain ones,
And I love a good uniform team that all looks the same. It looks sharp, they look great, they look put together, but I can't in good conscience do that over letting a staff member go, no, I'm saying like, you know what I'm saying?
The issue, to your point though, is there's some gray area in there when you start picking which team gets a warm-up paid for by the school district. So if I tell coach of sport A, that coach of sport B, and I tell those parents, right, who's getting warm-ups, who's not, they're gonna
I'm
argue.
definitely not picking a sport, I'm definitely saying no one.
Oh, no, okay.
Oh, yeah, because
I was answering.
I'm saying everybody needs a uniform, not everyone needs a warm-up.
Right, I was answering Ms. Torregross's question and her statement about, to her point, she sees that wrestling does need the warm-up. But it's very difficult to start, and you're not wrong, I agree with you, but I can't say, I think wrestling needs a warm-up, but I just arbitrarily decide that this sport doesn't need a warm-up.
I hear you. I think for me, and I'm about to be disliked for this sentence, like such is life sometimes, right? Like I play a sport that a warm-up makes sense. Like and this other one doesn't. But like I also understand what you're saying because like you're correct. We will hear about it, but I think, maybe somebody does a different job than me and they get different things at that job than I would. I don't know.
Again, different times. We used to have a cleaning lady who cleaned the towels and bathing suits.
Right. And like we have definitely dialed back on some of that. But
The matron, it was called the matron.
that's it. You mean that you don't do that?
What's that? No, we don't have that.
No, I meant you.
No,
I heard that
no, I don't do that.
So
I used to when I
I have a
coached.
question.
Yes, sir.
as a cheerleading dad, the girls go into a competition, okay? They get off the bus. They're wearing their warm-ups.
Yes.
They go into the gym with their warm-ups. They get called to the mat. They take off their warm-ups. Now they're in their uniform. They
Yes.
perform, they put their warm-ups back on, right? So
Yes.
it is more than just having clothes. It's an appearance thing. I'm not
No,
saying.
100%. I have
Yeah.
3 athletes at home.
Yeah.
I 100% understand the appearance and the look. I mean, my daughter is a D1 athlete. They wear all the same uniform to all go to the airport, to all get on the airplane together. And then they all wear the same uniform at the hotel to go to the bus, to go to the field and practice. I get it. I get the appearance. But in the financial constraints that we're in, it's so hard to say, yeah, let's do this, and let's let the math teacher go. Or let's let the Italian, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just a hard pill for me personally to swallow. I don't know how everybody else feels.
And I think to your point, what you're saying is, so I understand. Acknowledging that, like, yes, we don't want the cheerleaders walking off the bus in the winter in their uniform, but, like, they also probably have a sweatshirt and sweatpants at home to wear, right? Other than something, that's where we're getting at, right? That's when you say none. I say, all right, I'm back on the page.
Jesus Christ, I thought I talked loud. We have booster clubs too, as well, too, and they do. They're phenomenal. They raise, when you're not talking about the aspect of such as wrestling, and I'm just throwing that out there as an example, where it's a part of the actual uniform versus looking sweet. The parents are so, and the booster clubs are unbelievable. They know the dynamic. They get what's going on, so.
So like I said, with the approval of the bid, we don't have to buy the warm-ups. That's in terms of the approval.
Right, and like I said, my hesitation is that this district isn't known for not spending the money that's allotted. I mean, we literally just had an example a few weeks ago of someone spending money just because it was there.
What's the dollar amount on this, the savings with that?
I don't have the exact savings, but what we have now in the bid, if we did purchase everything, it would be $33,505, which I believe is, and again, I'm just putting the history part about how important it is to keep up. I think our first year, we had to spend $90,000 in uniforms. I think the second year was like $70,000 to catch up. So again, I'm not saying we have to buy warm-ups, but $33,000 is the lowest number we've had here in 7 years for uniforms. My overall budget, which is also phys ed health, and I'm not crying, I'm just saying phys ed health and athletics, and I know it's tough times, is like way less than it was every year, and we've also lost staff. So I have to advocate a little bit. We've taken our fair share of the hit, which is okay. They're tough times, but I just want you to know that, because I think understanding the history of my budget, our budget, for all those subjects and all of athletics, 97 teams, okay? So 30, believe it or not, 33,000, I know it's a lot of money, and you make a good point, Marisol, about, people lost their jobs, I get it, but, the other, and now I'm getting philosophical, the other idea is that the show must go on. The kids need to get what they need to get, whether it's a Chromebook or, a nice uniform or, but what we could do is we could suspend the warm-ups this year. Would that be a compromise for now, and then look at like policy going forward? I just want to be careful it's hard for me to just make a statement. Mr. Malloy, the athletic director, has decided we're never going to do warm-ups again when we've...
No, I'm definitely never saying never, right? I'm just saying this is going to be a tough financial year.
Yeah, so why don't we do this? May I make a suggestion? Can we take a year off? We'll get by this year, hopefully, and then revisit this? Would that be a fair compromise? Would the board be agreeable to that?
I mean, I would, yes.
I think that's a fair compromise. I'm listening to everybody here, and I know I haven't contributed much because I really value what, everybody's thoughts on all sides of this. And I do think that would be a fair compromise because the money is an issue. We just approved a forensic auditor. There was a reason for that. We just changed our external auditor. There's a reason for that as well. So I think, given this fiscal climate, which we've been very vocal about, the deficit that we had, I think that's a fair compromise, and it's not saying we don't want our kids to. I have athletes too. I wasn't athletic, so God bless. But I get it. So it's hard. It's hard to do that. But the money. My other issue, and this was not brought up, and I know everybody's gonna say, of course, that's one of your issues. So I've been vocal about it. I also see a lot of these, all of them, changing the logo. We are now in the middle of here between the state and the federal with the Thunderbird. Let's let them figure it out. Maybe next year. I mean, what happens? They settle, and all of a sudden next year we say, oh look, Thunderbird, and now we have all these C's. So let's give it. I'm going to make a suggestion. This is only my own thought. Give it the year for the financial reasons that we just discussed, and for me personally, also, I want to see what's going to happen with our mascot. That we don't need to go back to that. I don't want to reorder everything all over again just to have the right mascot.
Some of the uniforms do. In my Friday update, Mr. Mallory had provided a nice explanation and rationale sheet. Some of our uniforms still do have the full Thunderbirds name on it, and I forgot how many you had said that are still. Go ahead, you take it from there, Mr. Mallory.
That's okay. So there are a few remaining. For example, varsity field hockey still has Thunderbirds down here because those were brand new uniforms when all this started. But I will tell you, we did not order Thunderbirds once we had that original agreement with the state because we didn't want to cost the district more money and order a whole new set of uniforms that are only a year old because it said Thunderbird. So the bottom line is we have a few remaining uniforms with Thunderbirds, but basically we use the T-Bird, the C, the bird logo, the one I like, not the old one, at least with the wings. So we did not order anything with Thunderbirds while this is going on. We're just kind of waiting it out. So do we agree that I'll suspend the warm-ups? So that would be the, I think there's 3 teams on here that have warm-ups.
I think that's a good compromise, in my opinion. I also just want to note that the money that we save, I don't want to just spend it somewhere else. I want to actually save the money.
Yeah, and the other thing too, and yes, I know things weren't ordered, but I think actually a lot of the athletic equipment, and I don't know where this came from, I wasn't on the board back then, but Thunderbird was being done away with years ago. That was part of that. I know there was a letter that was out there. There was a $24 million expense, and it included athletic equipment, maybe it was uniforms to get rid of the Thunderbird. So it actually started, I believe, before that, before the settlement. Settlement was more recent. But
I think I can answer that question, Mr. Miller. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So the coaches get an autonomy of some sort in their selection of the uniforms, and some coaches just actually like the clean look of the C, and some don't. So they get to am I correct in my?
Yeah, so in the past, many of the uniforms did not have Thunderbirds on it. It may have T-Birds, it may have the C, the logo. Again, this is past practice in this district. It was not completely uniform. Some people like the older looking bird. Some people like the one, the beautiful with the wings that's on our basketball court. So it's kind of a mix here. And that's not totally uncommon. There's a lot of districts that kind of mix up the logo. There's others that this is what we do and that's it. Can I just, for clarification, so if you're worried about or concerned, I should say, about the money that we don't spend on the warm-ups, what I can do is tally up the total, and I could ask for that money to be transferred out of my uniform and supply code back, if that's legal, I don't know, but we could do a transfer during the year to show that this money sitting in my uniform supply code is not going to be spent.
That was my question, because
I'm all good for the transparency of it.
Right, we just.
I'm giving you my word, I'm not going to spend it.
We just, when we did the motion, it had 11 in it as presented, and now if we're going to be, I don't want what Marisol said, right? If we approve it as presented, it includes this warm-up budget, and I appreciate the
But you're only
flexibility.
approving the bid. You're not approving all these uniforms. You're approving the bid. So if I'm telling you now, I'll give you my word for starters, we'll take out the warm-ups, but the proof would be that whatever the warm-ups total, we could give the money back to a different fund.
It becomes fund balance. What you could do, Mr. Mallory, is that revised sheet, that had 33,500, you could further retract and revise it, and we could forward that to the board, so they see what the expenditures will be minus the warm-ups, and also with the warm-ups, yes. Yeah, and also with the warm-ups being tabled for this year, it allows time for you and the coaching staff. You know, there's a term in instruction called differentiated instruction. There's an opportunity to look at differentiation of needs, because I do think from one sport to another, we mentioned cheerleading, swim, wrestling being prime examples, you get into that differentiation of what's a need, and by having some time to have these conversations with our coaches and our teams, it allows for an understanding of, you know, equity is about meeting needs. So, thank you.
Understood.
So my thing is, with this, there are some uniforms, okay, if they're needed, they're needed, and a part of certain uniforms are the warm-ups. That's my problem, okay? If I don't want to be 5 years down the line, okay, because we're in a hole now, and we are in a hole. I don't want the kids to suffer with that. Just saying. Those warm-ups, some of them are legitimately a part of those uniforms, okay? It's not looking pretty, it's not, so I'm just throwing that out there. And let's be realistic. The money is going to go into the ether.
Okay. I know we don't have a business official right now, but would that be, can I transfer it out of my account, the money I'm telling Ms. Mallon that we're not going to spend on warm-ups, so it's transparent that I didn't spend the money? 'Cause
I'm
I think
okay, with
taking my word.
letting the money sit in your account until at least our forensic audit is done. We're good, or.
Okay, no problem. But you see, I just wanted you to know that.
Ms. Miller,
Be
I
transparent. Yeah.
totally trust that if, you say you're not going to do something, you will not do something, so.
And then maybe just a friendly reminder to the board that the money is still sitting in the account, so like in another few months, when the need does arise, that they're made aware of it so that they can act on it if they need to.
If an emergency need arises?
Or if a need arises and the warm-ups are needed for something and that money needs to be
Okay,
spent,
so
the board doesn't want to find out
Excellent.
from the community that you didn't spend any money on warm-ups, when you could just tell them and then they can approve it, so.
Excellent. Okay, yep, perfect. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Mallory.
Thank you. And I do just.
Thank you.
Want to clarify just one thing that I just have to get out there about the mascot. We know I am the mascot, but just and I know what you were saying, Marisol, and about the fact that some people just wanted to see, but the letter we sent to the state with that $24 million number, it included that money to prove to the state, included those figures, basically telling the state we changed our athletics over to get rid of the Thunderbird. Whether or not that's actually what happened, that's what the state believes. That's what we told them in that letter that had the 24 million, and it tallied it up. The 2021-2020 school year, 39,000 was spent. Like all of this, whether that was the intention at that time or not, that's what we told the state, that we spent 24 million to get rid of the Thunderbird since 2020. I just want to make sure that it was in that letter. But here we are now with the uniforms, so. I don't know how everybody wants to vote on this. Do we want to do a roll call?
Well, we did all of them, right? So we could do, I don't know.
Just gonna let you know when they need warm-ups.
When they need more warm-ups. Okay. Okay. All right, so now that we had the discussion on number 11, I know this is going long, but I did have a few other items that I wanted to ask about on the consent agenda before we approve it as a bulk item. Number 2, the budget transfers. Why are there so many transfers?
On the vote.
So many.
It's in meeting with the business office, it's actually broken down into some of the closeout of the 25-26 school year. It's possible we still may see some more there. The largest one was an under budgeted amount for Social Security. For the 25-26 school year. Other ones, to a lesser degree, were within department codes to cover one area to another. One was based on a student-based expenditure. You have home teaching out of district. We have hospitalized students. The explanations talk about unforeseen expenses there. In terms of the current school year that just started, there were several that were insurance liability costs that were initially budgeted based on quotes and estimates, and then at post-budget, when the actual came out, so there were some updates there. Some similar things with in terms of interdepartmental changes with computer contractual for 26-27. With Chromebook insurance, it's no longer available through the vendor, but it is available through BOCES, which qualifies it for aid. The reverse with security contractual, the software management agreement. This was originally through BOCES, but now it's being purchased through LPC. So again, those are intercode within the department.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it says here recommended. The superintendent of schools recommends the Board of Education approve the budget transfers as requested by the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have a superintendent of business. So, exactly.
So these
Let's just, still got a question. Let's move that one aside, okay? I cannot, with a clear conscience, before that auditor comes in, do all of these budget transfers. The absurdity behind it, I have no answers. You understand? This is, sorry, Joe, sorry, Dr. C, can't do it.
All right, so these were reviewed by Mr. Hauser before he departed, and then myself, the business department, and Mr. Allen, we reviewed them further, and then they were brought forward to the board.
Listen, Ed.
I think, just a side note, we do put a lot into our mental health services and our partnerships for mental health, and I know that some of those hospitalizations that are unexpected are medical, which obviously, like, we're not going to be able to do much about, but I also know some of them are going to be related to mental health concerns. And I would like to see, if we are investing and we are putting this much time and effort into our mental health services, what is not being caught that we're getting to the point that there's an increase in those hospitalizations also. And I know there's only so much you can prevent, but I think we have a good social work staff, we have a good psychology staff, we have these partnerships. Are they not, how do we get them utilized to their full potential, right? So we can avoid, because it's very disruptive for a hospitalization on any front. Again, like I said, medical ones unfortunately are really unavoidable, and there's not much we can do to mitigate that. But mental health, if we have all of this available, are we doing a good enough job of making sure that students, parents, everybody knows those resources? Like, what do we have to do to get that messaging out there more is what I want to try to learn from here, because it gets expensive very quick with the hospitalizations. And then, I'm sorry, because I stepped out for a second, I might have missed it. I guess my confusion a little bit is coming from, how are we already at the point in the 26-27 budget that's like 45 seconds into it that we did we under budget in places, or we already planned for these transfers? I understand what Sarah's saying with, like, I don't know that I want to start doing all these transfers 42 seconds into when we have.
Does the board want maybe more information onto the?
I would like more information behind transfer, a lot of things here before we start voting on any monetary stuff.
I just feel like the Social Security transfer, it's $325,000 to cover the Social Security expense for the remainder of the 25-26 school year. How are we so under budgeted? Like, how is it not like
Marisol.
$5,000? How is it $325,000? Like, it's just,
Marisol.
Sarah, I totally get it and I
Yeah,
understand.
that question is
I'm
difficult
just asking a
without the business
rhetorical
official.
question out loud, I guess.
Right, but I do know in terms of some of the questions, for 26, 27, especially the security one, that Mr. Flynn could probably help address that one.
Yeah, right, like I'm
That
interested in
one,
knowing when we found out
right
this
there, we
increase.
did a lot of due diligence on. Forever, we would buy that. That's our software maintenance agreement, which drives our video surveillance platform. For many years, we were able to purchase that through BOCES and get BOCES 8 on that. That is no longer reachable through that vendor who had that contract with BOCES. So the dollar amount is exactly the same because it actually comes through Genetec, which is our video surveillance software. But what that enables us to do, if our system would have a problem with it tomorrow or crash, we would not be able to get Genetec support. So that is I spent a lot of time in due diligence making sure that LPC has a very renowned and respectable. That one is, I can speak to that one, is critical to our daily operation.
So, and clearly I respect that and want to do what we need to do to take care of it. Having said that, can we wait a month when the forensic audit comes in?
So, I would say that based upon who I know over there, probably, but there's, if we're out of warranty, we're out of warranty. So.
Are
I
we
would
out
say-
of warranty?
Well, July 1st, July 1st was was when it should have been renewed.
Can we pull that separately? Something of that
Yeah, I
magnitude?
think we can pull one item.
When is your
from the
next,
budget transfer. I think
Mrs.
we
Pre, when are you looking to have it go into?
The audit has started.
Are we
Yeah, but that's
talking
gonna be
months or
some
things like that?
time.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
couple of weeks
It's
to a
not-
couple of
No,
months.
no. We're talking very distinctly, month to a month and a half with the forensic audit, with the way we're doing it.
I also, just for clarification on my question, really what I was saying is, because I
How do
don't know that,
pull something like this, of this magnitude, and pay for just that, and
So
put a
you
hold
can
on the
just
rest?
have a resolution to approve that single item on it, and then we can table the remainder of it.
Can we do that?
sure,
We can even speak to some of the other ones, Christine, in
I
terms
wanna
of like
just
the Chromebooks.
clarify my question because it wasn't about the Chromebook. I want to understand, when did we find out? So I'm seeing general liability insurance. We budgeted an increase of 15%, but the policy actually increased 23.5%. When did we find out that the policy was going to actually increase that much? You know what I'm saying? Or did we just budget 15% to get the budget through and get the numbers down? This is my concern, and I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, sure. We budgeted based it on estimates, and after the budget, the business office got these higher amounts.
Can we try going forward to just, for lack of a better term, and I'm tired, get it right next time, like, whatever the budget, like, that's what I want to do, get the actuals, like, get it close to that. We've done a lot, you know, in a school district for a long time. We should have a general idea of what we need to budget for these things, because this is quite a bit, and it makes it look like we just don't know how to budget our money properly. We're constantly making these transfers. That being said, I am for pulling the security one for Mr.
I am
Flynn.
as well. I don't want
So I'd like
to
to-
impact that.
I appreciate that. I tell you, it was absolutely unforeseen. We had no idea what the condition of that particular company was going to be and what would happen. So from the due diligence piece, it was just to make sure we were going to deal with a reputable company, and our dollar amount was a flat zero change.
You got it, yeah, absolutely. So,
That's also my understanding with the Chromebooks, Ms. Poppy, in terms of just going from one code to another, and now it's going through BOCES. With some of the liability ones, if we table those transfers, I don't think we'll have those liabilities and insurances in place
well,
now to start the school year.
I think the board is pretty set. We'd like to table the rest of these items. I think we're pretty set with that
Can
we'd
you
like to do
speak to
that
that,
and
though?
just keep the security one for now.
So I don't think that the board can be expected to act on something that they're just seeing tonight when they have this many questions. So I think it would be appropriate if the board wants to table it. We can pick this back up at the second July meeting. Maybe we can get the answers to the questions by this week so that the board has sufficient time to review it. And then come the July 28th meeting, I think is the next meeting. If there's something else on here, like I think what Mr. Flynn was saying that needs to be approved tonight, if that could just be flagged so the board can consider it now. But other than that, I think it's fine to table it till July 28th.
I mean, Melissa made a great question, like, when did we find out that the school board liability policy was going to increase to 23.5% instead of the 15% that we budgeted for? The CBIS physical count audit that is required every 2 years. If we do it every 2 years, we should have known about it. Like, why do we have to transfer $16,000? There's just so many questions. Same thing with the umbrella policy. It increased to 25.2%, and we budgeted for 15. When did we find out about that increase? Like, so many questions.
Right, and we're done with, I think we've made this clear. I don't want to continue to vote on things because I feel like we have no choice but to vote on them. So, which is why I like, if we are okay to not, like, I'm not comfortable if I don't have answers.
Okay, so how do we pull just the security item? Do I,
Well,
I'm sorry.
You could just, oh, go ahead.
All right, so,
You could just call for a motion to approve the security transfer as discussed by Mr. Flynn. You can have a motion and a second for that, and then everything else, we would just table.
okay.
I don't know, before we do that, I do remember we asked the question. I'm personally okay with the Chromebook one. It keeps coming up because I remember we asked these questions, and this is the one that goes back through the BOCES, and we get aided back, and we asked this question kind of, and I know Mrs. Poppy gave us those answers. If everyone else is not comfortable with that one, I'm okay with not voting on it, but that one I'm also
I think with that one, it's in our favor. Is that right? So is there any good reason that we wouldn't do it if it's in our favor tonight?
I don't want something brought to me after the 11th hour. I want to do my due diligence. I have a right to do my due diligence in my representing the community. That's why.
On the BOCES one, I believe we were getting money because something was aidable. Could you just?
Sure. I don't have much more to share than Dr. Centimore already did, but this particular item, this is under computer BOCES. We're looking to transfer from computer contractual to computer BOCES. The amount is $152,000. And this is to cover the purchase of Chromebook insurance, which is not available through direct purchase, and it must be purchased through BOCES, which qualifies it for an aid reimbursement. So the transfer, the money is already in there. It's not asking for more. It's just moving it from one code to a BOCES code, so that will allow that purchasing to take place.
I'm actually okay with the computer BOCES one.
I'm okay with that one as well.
I'm categorically not.
Okay,
But
that's
I'm one
okay.
person. That's okay.
Mrs. DiLorenzo, I apologize, but can I ask a question here?
I'm sorry. Yes,
No,
go
that's
ahead.
okay. I apologize. I didn't realize you were in the middle of asking a question. I just want clarification myself. We're talking about N, right? The consent agenda N, and are you asking to table everything in that? No, okay, because there were two items that I absolutely was going to ask.
That's
if we
number
had
2,
one.
the budget transfers.
Perfect, thank you.
I know there's been, again, a lot of discussion, so I'm just going to clarify again for the community. At this point, we've only been discussing the budget transfers. There's only one item on the consent agenda. And what we would like to do is, can I call for a motion and a second to approve the transfer from computer contractual, do I have to read the whole?
No.
Okay. Transfer to computer BOCES in the amount of $152,000. This is to transfer funds to cover the purchase of Chromebook insurance, which is not available through through district purchase. This must be purchased through BOCES and qualifies for aid reimbursement.
Again, I'm not quite sure where the race is. Is it not going to be there in a week or two? Is there a time constraint on this? Where that, I feel like I'm being again. So
Is there a
is
time
there
constraint on this?
on this?
I just want to make sure that my concern, and it's nothing against the item itself, I want to make sure that all the trustees are comfortable with this. I don't want anybody to feel like
I
they are.
personally am comfortable with it.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with this and they have all the information they need.
Right, and the only reason I brought that up is because I do remember this was one of the things we asked a lot of questions about and got. I don't know that there's anything more to answer. That was the only reason I brought that one up. That was the only reason that I said that one I was comfortable with.
No, there isn't a time constraint. However, we would like this to be in place before the students come back to school.
So a week is going to? A week to a week and a half, 2 weeks is going to prohibit us from having those kids? Get this? So then again, why am I being raised?
So then would the board, since there's no time constraint, would the board want to wait the 2 weeks, table it?
I just want to, what's going to change in 2 weeks is my question for you. That's why, like,
I don't know why I'm being raised. And I question it. Do you understand? Which is my job to do that.
no,
I've been
your
given
mic.
I've been given something, okay, again, and I don't understand where the race is. If there's no time constraint, then doing it in 2 weeks, right, is not going to keep our kids from having that. Why is it mandatory to do it right this second?
I don't think it is mandatory. I think the question was who's comfortable voting on it.
No, that was Jackie's.
Right.
And then I feel like administration is saying, well, we need to do this. Why are we putting that off to do that? I understand Don's issue. That needed to be done yesterday because it's past July 1st. Okay? I don't understand this. Again, I'm one person. Vote your consciences.
I have a question. To clarify, if we voted for it in 2 weeks, would that get in the way of being ready to hit the ground running in September?
We would be just fine in September if we waited the 2 weeks.
All right. I'd like a motion and a second to approve budget transfer item security BOCES to security contractual in the amount of $128,094 to transfer funds from software maintenance agreement to contract services. This is no longer service through BOCES. This will now be purchased through LPC Inc. Fire and Safety.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
I'd like a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items 3 through 32 and to table the rest of the items listed on item 2, budget transfers.
Motion?
Second.
I actually had questions about a few other things. I am so sorry. Not to table, just to discuss. Another item I just wanted to put out there, just so that the board is aware. We have that wonderful presentation from the Eagle Scout students for the Gaga Ball Pit, which looks really, really awesome for Duffield. I just want to make sure that the board is aware that it should not. He wants to do fundraising, but should he not get to the amount that he needs? He's asking, this approval is asking that the district fund the remainder of the amount. I just want to make sure you're all aware of that item. And it says, Superintendent of Schools recommends that the Board of Education approve the proposed Eagle Scout project to build a Gaga ball pit at Duffield Elementary School. Upon completion of said project, which is predicated upon the Eagle Scout candidate raising the necessary funding via fundraising, that it be accepted as a donation.
Yes. So the Eagle Scout
Sorry, Dr.
Go
Sedemore,
ahead.
it's worded differently in the explanation, in the attachment. In the
Right.
attachment, it says, in the unlikely event that I cannot cover the cost of the project in its entirety after pooling all fundraised, donated, and personal funds, I will ask that the district assist in funding the project to a reasonable extent. So you're gonna ask, they're not demanding or like
Right.
expecting.
It's not holding us
it's not
to any
expecting.
number.
Yeah, so normal expenditures, as far as any type of improvements, you'll have to go through the normal statutory process, but to the extent the resolution is only being approved, that you're accepting that donation, and to the extent he's not able to meet that donation, that's a separate bridge we can cross another day.
Generally, because we spoke with Mr. Allen about this, with these type of projects, the district does not usually commit funding. The idea is that the candidate would be able to raise the necessary funding to complete the project, and once the project is complete, then you have your donation opportunity.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. All right, another question I had was, at a previous meeting, this is for number 7, Consultant Services Agreement, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. It was another item that was tabled at the June 9th meeting. I don't believe I was the one who tabled it, and I want to make sure that whoever had this tabled, you have your answers, know why it was tabled at that time, and also are the dates correct, because they're showing from May of 2025 to 2026.
So when this was first brought to the board, it had if my memory is correct, a full year, and the question was raised, why are we entering into a full year agreement? So we brought it back to Student Services, and they modified the extent of that period. There was also a memo that, I don't see it. I don't know.
We got the memo also, yes.
You got the memo also? Okay.
Yep.
That was explaining that that was being adjusted to meet the board's request.
I just want to make sure that we have all our answers, because it was tabled last time, so making sure. Okay. I am almost done. Okay, the next one, my next question is again about dates. Just making sure that they're correct for number 8. The following one, flow-through contract, Kidtastic. Are those dates correct? Because it says for the 2025-2026
Yes, those dates are correct, because for flow-through, it happens the year before, and we get billed after.
Okay, that's fine. I had 11. We did that one already. Oh, I want to just double check this. This might be something that's actually very exciting. It looks like we might be saving money. I want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. Number 12, the 2022 bond change order recommendation for Rel Electric Corp. Is that a money savings item as I was reading it?
I believe this is it. I believe this is in the district's favor. I'm looking. The Slocum.
The one that says there was an allowance in the amount of $40,000.
Yeah, I'm
that was
opening.
included for unforeseen conditions, and it is being returned to the owner.
Yep. So the district, this is in the district's favor.
All right, well, that's always a good thing.
Return to the district, as Ms. Torregrossa stated.
Okay, all right, I'm good with questions on the consent agenda. Does anybody else have any questions on the consent agenda? I'm good. Okay, am I at the all in favor part? Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. We now have our discussion topics.
And the update,
This,
superintendent's update, so. Superintendent update.
Yep, let me make sure.
Superintendent.
Oh, yes, superintendent update.
Thank you, Mr. Lorenzo. So, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's summer is off to a fabulous start and that you all enjoyed the July 4th in America 250th anniversary celebration. Of course, only a few weeks ago, congratulations to the class of 2026 and their families. Thank you to all of our administrators, instructional, and support staff. This graduating class of over 400 graduates had many wonderful accomplishments, 99% graduation rate, 3/4 attending college, including over 40 competing in athletics. We have many students going directly into the trades, the workforce, and our military. Over 250 graduates with seals of civic readiness, around 100 seals of biliteracy, 86 technical endorsements, 128 AP scholars. Truly amazing and outstanding work by our graduating class. The end of the school year also had many other wonderful activities and events, as well as moving up ceremonies for kindergarten, 5th grade, and 8th grade. And so congratulations to all those students as well. Also, congratulations to our Director of Humanities, Mr. Kassane, in the Business Department, as the Connecticut High School's Business Academy. Their CTE application was reapproved by the state, and it's good for another 5 years. That's a hallmark program for our high school and our department, so kudos to them. We're in the summer now. Our summer programs are up and running. I visited the high school in Boston district programs for our extended school year and our E&L. I also stopped by just today over at Duffield for the Town of Islip summer recreational playground program, and they're all off to a great start. Summertime is very busy with work throughout the district. We have a number of facilities projects that are going on, several at the high school, including the final phase of roof replacement, the upper turf field replacement, waste tank modifications. We have flooring and titling. Several of our elementary schools have had or are having ADA lifts installed for their stages, such as Idlehour, Boston, John Pearl, Slocum, and Cherokee. And we also have a great deal of HVAC work that's being planned into the fall that Mr. Allen can update at a later time. I mentioned earlier when we were doing the committees and the board members were choosing the committees to serve on. The new committee, the Budget Advisory Committee, I mentioned that we have a little over 40 community members who have expressed an interest in serving on this committee. Is there any kind of an update I could, some of them are starting to reach out and ask if there's any update in terms of when this committee may begin. Is there any kind of an update I could send out to all these people in terms of, a potential starting point? So that's something the board wants to think about over the next 2 weeks, or what's the thought of the board?
I was just gonna say, you tell me. I don't know, like, where, are we prepared to do this? Are we not? Like, do we not?
Do we want to wait until the forensic audit was complete? Do we want to start before that?
I'm okay with either. I think a good starting point also, because if we're looking at all the stuff we were talking about, how our vote actually means nothing earlier in the meeting, a good starting point also could be, a little bit of education component for everybody too, about like what we're even looking at, which we don't necessarily need. I'm talking general. I'm not talking specific about our dollars and cents. Like, if we wanted a starting point, like, we're going to bring people into a budget advisory committee and tell them to go home and figure out what all of it means themselves. Right. Like, I would like to not delay the start of it too much, because I feel like that's where things get lost and then it doesn't happen. Right? Like, so if it's something like that, to get the ball rolling, to get people interested so they even know what we're coming to talk about, and then once the audit concludes, we can actually get into the specifics of our money. I think it could be a good idea. I just want to get people involved in this conversation sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So we think in August, do we want, I know we're also, looking at the business office, what would be, is there any kind of an update I can give to all these people that requested to be on the committee?
Can we find out, and this is like a genuine question, we used to have forensic audits all the time, right? 20 years ago. Can we find out when they legitimately started those, forensic audit, where we had the committee, right?
committee.
But, I'm sorry, budget committee. Can we legitimately find out when I have all this stuff I'm tired, sorry, when they started in the past? I think August was really early. I could be wrong. But it should be on record, because we had community residents, we had accountants, we had all sorts of great people on the, you know what I mean? So maybe we could just find out when that started in the past.
Okay, we'll follow our past practice when that began.
So then maybe we could discuss it one more time on the 28th.
Yeah,
Right.
and hopefully have an update for the community, better then.
Right. And as always, thank you to all of our parental, youth, and community organizations, including PTA, SEPTA, ORBA, Athletic Boosters, Civics, and Rotary, as well as all of our local businesses and alumni for all that you do on behalf of our students, staff, and community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sanamore. Now we're going to move on to board discussion topics. I have a few topics on here. I don't think they're going to take too long. I'm actually going to combine two of them because they're both board policies. And I had put them on here because I wasn't sure if I was going to be on the policy committee, which now that I will be, I just want to put it out there that I would like to bring forward policy 5450. This is the one about student safety. And I want to bring this forward because this was referenced at the end of the school year in regard to allowing some past students, say students that were in the school up until 8th grade, maybe they went to a private school, maybe they didn't come to our high school for a medical reason, whatever it might be, that they were students for a long time and they should partake in our senior walkthrough. Because the reality is, well, I understand the concern with letting a stranger into the building. We have concerts, class parties, field day, the circus, you name it. Nobody's being vetted when they're walking into the building, even if some of these events are during the school day. So, just to make sure that we have these people, they are taxpayers, these families, they're still living in the district, and sure, we can have, like we did this year, permission slip, but something to not just be a blanket, all right, you didn't go to the high school, no, you can't come to a senior walkthrough when we have, they might have spent their entire elementary career, their entire elementary career at our elementary school, they still live here. So why shouldn't they be able to go back and visit their teachers? So that's why I brought that forward. Now that I'm on the policy committee, I would like to discuss that. The other one I wanted to discuss was 3120, duties of a superintendent. I know there's no section in there about the process for recommending tenure, and if we were to recommend early tenure. So I want that to be clarified in there, that if there is going to be an early tenure recommendation, the board is given as much information as possible. It's not just on there, and we know that it is an early tenure recommendation. I just want full transparency to the board. There was a situation that happened, I'll explain it. Early tenure. It happened already. And I want to make sure that going forward, the board is made aware that when there is somebody on there, I'm not saying somebody shouldn't get tenure at all, but early tenure is something else, and, setting that kind of a precedent. We want to make sure that we have something in place so that the board is not just approving it, assuming the dates are correct on there. So that's a policy I want to bring forward. I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. Okay. Another item that just question, I'm only asking this because I did ask on email and I didn't get an answer. I sent it on June 11th, just simply asking why our YouTube channel for these meetings was suddenly changed to a C from our Thunderbird. Thunderbird was not, part of the settlement. We were supposed to, why was it changed to a C? I just wanted to know. I never got an answer, so I'm curious if there's an.
I think I asked that 3-4 months ago.
You asked about the website? Was it the website?
Okay.
And then I noticed, going back looking at videos, that all of a sudden it was our YouTube channel for the Board of Education meetings. I said, why did that change? I don't remember. It didn't even need to be changed.
When was the logo changed on it?
I noticed it on June 11th. I don't know when it was changed before that, but I'm just.
Yeah, in terms of the YouTube channel, I couldn't speak to that. In terms of when we were first applying to the state for that extension with the mascot, this predates the whole situation with the federal government. I know there was communication with the board, with recommendation with the then law firm that was addressing the mascot, to show good faith effort, but I don't know if that tied directly in with the YouTube channel.
No. At a technology committee meeting, when we were looking at some of the, I remember it coming up there too, when we were looking at the changing of the website from whatever it was to smart sites or whatever the heck it is. When we were doing the examples, there was talk about trying to make it uniform across every school, every building, making it the same thing, and I think kind of everything just got changed at that time to be the C across, because we were talking about uniformity because you would click on John Paul's and it would have the pearl pencil jumping up and down, and then you would click on, you know, the high school, and it would have this, and you would have the middle school and this, and there was a conversation about uniformity, and that, when I'm looking on our YouTube channel, it changed. The first time was 6/10/2025 was the first time that it was the C and not the Thunderbird on the YouTube channel.
So my issue is, it shouldn't have been,
Like, even until May, because I always try to rewatch to see how I can fix how I speak. But I just want to, you know, and to revisit the meetings, but I always saw the logo, and then when I went back in beginning of June, I said, it's gone. Like, and it was gone, right, but those, yeah.
but Jackie, you're right, because I had the same question. Again, another thing, but who unilaterally changed it was my question when it was on the website. And it's just, it should come to the board, it should be, it didn't. And then I got, well, I think they did it, and it was that person.
It was on the committee.
It was vague at best.
In 2025, apparently. That's scary to me because time is passing me at an alarming rate. But I do remember that conversation on the committee about the uniformity. Do not ask me about the very, very specifics of what we were talking about changing, but I do remember that conversation about how every school's page was formatted different and looked different and this and that, and we were trying to make it professional, is the word I will use, but.
And I understand that, but the other part of this too is separate from that. I asked a question through email, similar to when the community asked a question, and I got no answer. Just saying, I didn't even get that, so. All right, moving on. So my next thing on there, just FOIL requests, which I just want to let the community know, because we have many FOIL requests, and many times people are waiting for their answers. So I did ask for Sabrina to give us an update. So she sent us in the last update, weekly updates she'll be sending us of her FOIL requests, so that we could see, as a board, the status of the FOIL requests, if they were completed, what they are about. So thank you for that. I do want to have that, so thank you.
I have a discussion point on the FOIL request. So we had a resident who explained that she FOILs many things, and I asked her for a list, and some of them, I don't know why we wouldn't give the information out on the website. So I'm just going to read some of these things, and there could be a very good reason why some of them are not put up there, but others, you know, in full transparency, maybe we need to rethink some of this. So the first item is budget contingency plans and the specific reductions that would occur if a budget was failed. Now, I know that the specific items might not be there when we're just getting the budget out, and procedurally we figure it out only if the budget were to go down, right? But maybe a contingency, I don't know, something that's out there so people can see what we're up against if it passes or doesn't pass.
There was no contingency plan, Mr. Barry, so they weren't even considering one unless the district did not pass the budget. And then we would come back to the drawing board and conjure up the contingency budget.
Okay, and that makes sense. So that's a syntax question, is we're not going to spend time doing it until we're there, and then, okay. Detailed budget information and supporting documentation beyond the high-level presentations. I think this one is just looking to go deep into the weeds to look at some numbers, which I think is great to have more eyes on things. You know, just a thought, right? Another one, external audit reports and management letters. Why is that not on the website? Right? Transportation reports, compliance-related information. We have to maybe discuss that. Some contracts, agreements, and amendments. Why wouldn't a contract be on there? Okay. Enrollment projections, staffing analysis used to support the budget decisions. I think that's a reasonable thing. We should kind of have it out there and more eyes, and, you know.
The budget presentations are maintained on the website, where, yes, in terms of things like staffing.
I do want to put it out there, everybody has a right, clearly, to FOIL information. We're averaging about 2,000 a month on FOILing requests. And I think some of them People can come here and ask, and maybe because we're open now, we can maybe discuss it in person versus having an averaging 2,000 per month on FOIL requests and having our attorneys go over everything and what can be released. That's a lot of money for this district.
And
Okay.
transparency would help that.
Right.
It
Well,
would.
clearly.
And transparency would help that, and it's information that the community is rightfully owed that information. They
right.
shouldn't have to FOIL to get this information.
Right, so maybe people can start coming, right, to the meeting, ask these, we can answer some of these questions and then save the district some money as well. Believe me, I believe in foiling the right to do that, but now maybe they can just come and ask questions and we can answer as much as we possibly can to potentially cut down, because we're averaging, again, 2,000 plus a month. 6 months, more than 10,000. That's a lot of money. So let's try that.
And answering the people, when they ask these questions, give them the answers.
I agree.
Without having to FOIL, give them their answers and put it on the website. So even if they ask about it, we say, well, here it is, here's a link, direct them to the website.
Absolutely.
$2,000 or 2,000 foils?
We're averaging, okay, an average, 2,000 a month, more than 10,000 every 6 months.
Requests?
Monetary.
Dollars. Thank
Dollars.
I was like, Sabrina, are you okay?
Sorry.
I'm looking at Marisol and I'm like, 2,000 a month? Okay, 2,000. Oh, got it. I'm back. I almost just had a heart attack for Sabrina.
And Sarah, to your question or point, maybe someone doesn't have the time, maybe they're working when we have our meetings, but they still want the information, and truthfully, I want more eyeballs, the better.
I get that,
Yeah.
right? Again.
Oh, please
I
come to the
think-
meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, come to the meetings. I want to be open and honest as we can, as transparent. I agree with you. Maybe, again, and this is just a thought, maybe we could cut down on some of those legal fees, okay?
Yeah.
By simply opening it up more. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and another thing that I had brought up, which now we don't have syntax doing things, but I don't know how we can go about doing this. We did have a request from a parent that they wanted certain videos and certain events sent to them personally so that they can personally share them, which I understand we can't do. We have to be able to make it available for every single resident, this information, pictures, videos, whatever it might be. We can't just send it to parents here and there just so they can personally share it. With that being said, I want to make sure that when we are able to start getting our photos and videos back up, everything should be shared, maybe even a spot on the website for the events, and parents can go there, get whatever event it might be, like a central location, and then they can take it from there. Just to have a spot for that. There are many events, but maybe we can work something like that out so that they can get those.
I'm not sure. When my kids were in elementary school, and I don't know if they still do this, this is a genuine question. My kids used to have to, every year at the beginning of the year, I used to have to sign a release if my children were allowed to go. So there are pictures with that too. Do you know what I mean? I know that a big issue is with syntax that they're not taking pictures anymore. Again, we do have pictures taken, right? And I can only speak to what I'm remembering. Again, don't know if they still do that. But then you have that avenue as well. And clearly, if they're posted on the web or whatever, then they should have access to that. And that, right?
Yeah, and that web access will remain, the same thing with social media. And that was essentially my response to that one parent that day with that request. Where, we vetted internally. So even though, this year with the reduced function with syntax in terms of them taking the bulk of the photographs, we'll have to do them in-house and then provide them to syntax to place into onto the website and social media, and then parents can access it from there.
On that note, another question that was asked is the savings from the syntax cut, which we didn't know what was being cut. And that amount that you gave us was 69,000. But my question with that is, on April 21st, we were given a list of items that were cut to reduce the number from 16.7 to 3.4. Syntax was not on that list. So I don't know, was it cut after that? I'm not sure. It was not part of that number, because I actually wrote everything down as Mr. Hauser was giving us the numbers, which still didn't add up to the difference. It was still some things missing. Was that one that was missing?
No, we discussed the public relations in March and those special budgetary sessions where we talked about that, the public relations being a significantly reduced expenditure, basically focusing on the media, any type of communications that might be required, any kind of emergency type correspondences, the budget information that goes out. I know that I've had some recent conversations with them. I know the board has raised it in terms of them coming to a board meeting to take photos. They're finalizing for the 25-26 school year the summer letter that highlights graduation. That wouldn't be, that I'll forward to the board once they put the finishing touches on it. I'm reviewing it. There is the ability, if I know they just reached out to us as well the other day, if we want to try to explore and make some changes to our arrangement with them. Obviously, there would be a cost factor to that.
No, I was going to ask about having the calendar more fluid, but I see there's been some adjustments. Yeah.
So I know, Mr. Barrett, you were raising a question. It's a discussion item about the website and the calendar. We do have the ability through the district clerk, my office, to make some real-time changes on the calendar, but we could also do them through Syntax because they still maintain the website for us as well.
So just as a point, is that August 11th, we're changing that meeting, just, right, that's the scope dinner. So I think, did we say that we're going to go on the 4th for that?
It was literally just approved. Like, we literally just approved it.
Right, no, I'm not jumping on anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of verifying and just kind of announcing that.
Yes, it was, and it was changed, and it was, it's over here, it's item number 30 on the consent agenda with the calendar, and it has August 4th as the August meeting.
Thank you. And thank you for getting this thing.
Appreciate you raising the question.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have any other topics that they'd like to walk on for discussion?
Real quick on the topic of website while we're there. I brought it up before, I'll bring it up one more time. I want to look into potentially other districts that don't use platforms like Board Docs because they maintain this in-house internally. It's organized in a different way. I think we could do things in a cleaner way as far as, example, right? Middle Country School District. When they send out their board, like we are having a board meeting on Tuesday, they also include any upcoming committee meetings that are open to the public that they could be attending on that announcement, right? So I just think that if we're going to be looking at what other districts do in some realms, like we should be looking at it in all. They have a lot of them have sections on their websites under the Board of Education that's like responses to inquiry, and that's when people ask questions at meetings instead of having it get a little bit chaotic and off the rails and back and forth. I've gone and I've watched and correlated. They actually will just post responses that are now on their website to all these inquiries that came from the public during public comment at the board meeting. And that way they're there to reference back to. I think there's a lot of ways that we can improve. We got this new website. That was, let's use it. Let's make it better. And I think there's a lot of places that we could just do some tweaking. You click on some subsections and it's just like, oops, this link is just going nowhere. And I'm like, great.
Yeah, like for our meetings, why not, like, I know under Board of Education here, we have our meeting schedule. Great, that's up here, but why can't we also add a section on here, maybe, to have all the agendas, let people find the date. They don't have to go to board docs. You can have it on there as a PDF. Find the date of the agenda, click on it, download it, print it, whatever you want to do, and then also have the minutes. And for an example, I'm going to give is for everybody go to the library's page, because the library has it actually just like that. I'm going to do it now. And they have a section, it's actually in there about us. And if you go to board meetings, you literally just see a list that has the date, the time, whether it's a regular meeting, reorg meeting, and then the PDF you can download that has the agenda. Once the meeting is over, another PDF with the minutes. I don't see why we can't have something like that, just to make it easier for people to find, because, yeah, I've gotten used to board docs, but that's because I'm doing this for a few years. So I think, even just that, something make it a little easier for everybody. Just a suggestion.
And just also like an idea, because we are such a large district, why can't every school be responsible for their own calendar? Like, why do we have one person in central office responsible for Slocum, for Duffield, for Cherokee, for Idlehour, for the high school? That just doesn't even make sense. Why can't we designate a person at each school to update the calendar and have it be in a uniform manner so that not everybody's adding different colors and fonts and whatever, but one person for every school?
We actually can do that. It just, it's important that if they make a change, especially if it's a significant event, that the district is informed as well. So it is something that we can do. We can give that kind of editing right to a principal and his or her designee, like their.
Sorry, I thought, again, many moons ago, the principals would have their clerical staff do that. Just,
It might not be a bad idea, because they're the ones that really know truly what's going on in their building.
They could easily send an email to the district, the superintendent's office or whatever, and let, the district clerk and the superintendent know.
Okay, does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss? All good? Okay. All right. So, I will now open the floor for I'm going to first ask, do you want to speak? No? Okay, so I'm not going to read that all over again, but do I have to, can I go to the next item? I can just go to this part, right? Okay. So I will now call for a motion and a second to move into executive session in accordance with Open Meetings Law, Section 105F. Oh, for the purpose? For the purpose of matters leading to the appointment of a particular person and the employment history of particular people.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we will not be coming out for public. Okay, we're not coming.
We will.
Oh, we
We may.
we may, I am so sorry. We may be coming back out for public when we are done. Sorry. Thank you, everyone.